Hey everybody, I'm Matt from Reliable Aftermarket Parts. Today, we're gonna try to rebuild this Cub Cadet LT42 inch Enduro series. And one of the first things I saw to do online when I was watching people remove the deck is actually putting the deck blade height all the way down and then engaging the deck as well. So the next thing we're gonna do is remove this bolt right here for the belt guard or belt guide that's underneath here. So we're gonna take that off, and then on the other side, we wanna make sure that we mark it so we know where this bracket goes through and we don't put it in the wrong holes. So I marked it with a piece of tape, or if you have like a silver Sharpie, you can mark it there. You see there's a bunch of different hole patterns here that you don't wanna mess up when you're putting it back in. So the next step in the process is to remove this bow tie clip in here, so you can set this back and make sure that you put it forward, so when you're reinstalling it, this doesn't get caught up in anything that you're putting back in. Then there's another one in the back here. So we were up front, we just took that bow tie one out. Now we're back here, we're gonna have to take this one out as well. All right. Now we're on the other side of the tractor. Now we have to take this bow tie clip out. So once you get those bow tie clips out, you're going to want to wiggle this out. You can sometimes lift up the deck to make it easier. And this bracket, set that bracket on top. That way, when you're pulling it out, it's not going to fall back down. Try to set it back on top. All right, so now we're on the other side. We're just gonna lift that deck up a little bit to make it a little bit easier to get off of there. Hopefully it makes it a little bit easier to get off of there. Gotta reposition myself. There we go. The deck now is loose by itself. Put that back up on top of there if you can. And then the next thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna pull the deck out a little bit, and we're gonna have to remove this engagement cable here. So be very careful when you pull it out. You don't want any crimps, crinks, bending this at all. All right, so after you lower it, I should have said this before we mess with the engagement cable, you do want to scoot the deck forward a little bit so you can get this belt off. And this is where we had that belt guide here, or belt protector, that we took off in the first step. So after you scoot the deck out a little bit, to make sure that you unhook the engagement cable or unclip it, there's another bow tie clip right here. Be very careful taking that off. We're gonna take that off, and then we're gonna remove this little rubber gasket or rubber fitting here out of the deck. All right, so after we got that clip out, we push this in a little bit to be able to remove this bracket, this rubber gasket or bracket there. Now we're pushing it in to get the spring out, which is giving me a little bit of trouble. Got it out, finally. Man, that was probably the hardest part of this whole thing so far. And now that we have everything detached, we can slide this on out, clean it up a little bit, and then start the replacement parts. And this is what the deck is gonna look like when it comes off. I would recommend taking a picture of this so you know how the belt diagram goes. We're gonna blow all this stuff off and then start working on the replacements. So typically your Cub Cadet, if it's newer and it's not worn off, there are decals on here that show you your model number, the belt route, the belt routing diagram. So if you didn't take a picture, it is on here, and then all your replacement parts and item numbers are over here. So the next thing we're gonna do, since we have the deck off, we're gonna start removing these belt guides and guards right here. It's gonna be the same wrench that we used to take off the belt guide on the front of that, which is a 8mm. So this is what it's gonna look like once you get that belt guide or guard off. You can see it does look like it's rubbing a little bit here, but I believe that's what it's designed to do, is to guide and help that belt stay on this pulley. All right, that's the other side. That's gonna come off. And obviously I neglected my lawnmower, so I'm gonna clean up all this before we start installing the new stuff. Okay, so on this, you are gonna have to have somebody else help you or use your other hand if you're not recording. there is another bolt on the back that you're going to have to hold on to while you're taking this off right here. So you're going to do the same thing on the other side, or the other pulley. The only difference is that it's actually reversed. I don't know why that is, but it is reversed on the other side. Okay, so we put the new idler pulley on right here. You still have to hold it, just do it back, reverse the same way. You can get this part from Reliable Aftermarket Parts. Everything that we're putting on here is from ReliableAftermarketParts.com. Yeah, so put that on there. Don't tighten it all the way, because remember, you're gonna have to put this belt back on, and it's gonna have to go within this guide here. So don't tighten it down too much. Okay, so we got both of the idler pulleys back on there. They are loose, yes, I understand that. Make sure that these brackets are fit in the notch. You'll feel it once it goes in there, because that's where that guide needs to go. Once again, we do have it loose just so when we put the belt on, we're not stretching or crimping the belt. Now we're gonna go on to the other side, remove the blades, and remove these. All right, so we had the blade on here. We just took it off with a, let me see, 15/16 socket. We did place a wood board here to hold the blade in place while we're taking it off. An impact drill would be perfect if we had that. We had to use manual strength to get this off. But if you have to have an impact drill, that would be a lot easier to take this off. Make sure you do have a wood block to have the blade rest against when you're taking them off and on, so there are no slips and nobody gets cut. Okay, so on this side now, after we take the blade off, we're going to take off the bolts so we can remove the spindle assembly. And we are using the same socket, which is a 10mm. And now it should just drop right out. All right, so this right here is the old idler pulley that we just took off of the Cub Cadet. This is the brand new one from Reliable Aftermarket Parts. Looks exactly the same, nice and clean, and for a fraction of the price from what you would buy it for at Cub Cadet. Okay, so we're putting on the new spindle assembly. I know I called it an idler pulley or whatever it was last time, but we're putting on the new spindle assembly. It's a little bit bigger bolts, but they still fit inside there. It's actually a 13mm instead of the other one that we were using last time. So it's lining up perfectly. So really happy with this so far. So we have the brand new blade on here from Reliable Aftermarket Parts. Looks real nice, clean. These are mulching blades. This is what the old one looked like, so it was definitely time to replace it. We're gonna get this tightened down and then moved on to the next spindle assembly. All right, as you can see over here, we have our new blade all set and on there, nice and tight and snug. Once again, we did use the wood block to make sure that we held this in place so no arms, fingers, ankles got cut off. Now we're over here onto the other spindle assembly. We're just removing this now, so we can do the same thing for this, side. And then as soon as we get this out, it will be nice and loose, so we can do the exact same thing. All right, so once again, this is the new spindle assembly that we're putting it on. And if you do have a new or newer Cub Cadet, there should be a sticker here. Hopefully there is on older Cub Cadets too. And you can see right here the common parts, the blades here. Then you have your baggers for your accessories, other accessories here. Then you have spark plugs, oil filters, all that good stuff. And it will tell you, what drive belts, what deck belts you need here. And then honestly, if you have any questions about what your Cub Cadet needs, you can go on there, cubcadet.com, put on your model number, find the part number, then of course head over to Reliable Aftermarket Parts and get the same exact aftermarket part for a fraction of the price. All right, so for the most part, we got everything done as far as the blade goes. They're nice and tightened up. Once again, I cannot stress enough, use a wood block to make sure that you put it here when you're taking on and off the blades so they don't cycle around and either cut your arm, get spinning, or cut your foot or whatever it is. You also want to make sure that when these are going around that they are not touching. They aren't, so it looks like a perfect size replacement from Reliable Aftermarket Parts. Next, we're going to flip it over and work on the other side. Okay, so once again, on your Cub Cadet, your machine, or you can even go on online to the website to find out what parts you need. But also look at here, the belt diagram. If you didn't take a picture before you start ripping everything apart, right here on here. If you want to walk over here with me. You can see that we put it all back together, exactly where the diagram is. And now we're going to go and attach this back to the underside of the tractor. Actually, I'm sorry, we got to put the guards back on over here and on this side, and then we will be good to go set it back up on the tractor. All right, so we got the belt guards back on there, or the belt guides on both sides, nice and tight down on each side. Now we're ready to put it back underneath the mower. Okay, so we had to put the deck engagement cable here back into this fitting, and then we're going to put the bow tie in underneath it so it cannot slip out. It's best to give it a little bit of slack. If we zoom out, you can pull in on this right here, give yourself a little bit of slack to be able to fit this cord within that little notch that it sits in. Okay, so we got the engagement cable back in its place inside of the bracket. Then we had to put a bow tie in it. That's probably one of the hardest things to do, is get that out of this whole entire project. Now we're gonna take these brackets, remember, lower your, put your blade engaged and lower it all the way to the lowest setting. You will have to pick up this deck though in order to put it on that hole. So you're gonna have to kind of put it on there like that. Nope. There we go, so we got that, and then we're gonna put another bow tie clamp or clip inside of that as well, on each side.
Go.
Okay, so we got the bow tie clip in. They are pretty hard to get in. I would recommend using some needle nose pliers to get those in, pull it through, and set it right there on that middle notch right there, and that shouldn't be going anywhere. Next, we're gonna move up top, putting that belt back on the pulley or the guide, and installing the belt guide as well. All right, so for this belt, obviously before you put the bow ties on, or maybe it's not obvious because we just had to take some of the bow tie clips off, put the belt in this pulley first before, if you come over here, before you put these butterfly clips in. So remember, we're gonna put this guide guard on, this belt guard on down here. You're gonna put it on with a, let's see, 8mm socket. That's what we did. So come over here and remember that we put the tape over here to mark out where it goes, because you don't want to put that in the wrong hole or bolt pattern. That's why we put that tape there, or you marked it with a marker. So we're going to tighten that up, and there's only one more step to go. Okay, so remember we have this last bracket that we pushed up right here. Now we're going to attach it. You can see the marks of where that was with the butterfly clip here. We're going to put the butterfly clip in, and then we are ready to test everything out.